Hey everyone, Jackson Fisk with Goal Zero, and this is 0 Hour. 0 Hour is a live broadcast talk show where we talk to business professionals from all different industries to talk about safety, HR, and all business processes in the hopes to educate you. A little background to me, because I never do it. My name is Jackson Fisk, and I am the owner of Goal Zero. We are the simple way to manage safety. We offer turnkey compliance and remote management for small to medium-sized businesses. So whatever you need from a health and safety perspective, we are here to help. That being said, let's get to our guest. Our guest today is Jay-Dee Netter from RJ Systems. Jay-Dee is the co-founder of RJ Systems, an avid guitar player, and a father of 2 girls. His 18 years of experience in technology covers both corporate and enterprise IT, along with support for small and medium enterprises across Western Canada. In addition to his technical expertise, Jay-Dee donates to a variety of charities, either personally or through his company, RJ Systems. One of these charities right now is Project Joy. You might have seen in the news. It's an organization that is repurposing donated tablets and phones to allow seniors to connect during the COVID-19 crisis. So about Jay-Dee's company, RJ Systems, is a leading technology solution provider delivering exponential IT and cybersecurity services throughout Western Canada. From network security to strengthening employee security, RJ Systems offers the services small to medium-sized businesses need to protect their organization and their customers' data. Providing unmatched security, support, and services, RJ Systems is proud to give clients peace of mind, allowing them to focus on their business goals and succeed. So, that being said, let's get into it. Is it bad that I just love my own intro right now?
I think it's wicked.
Professionally done. No.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks for joining me, Jay-Dee, and welcome to episode 3.
Hey, thanks for the intro, Jackson. You nailed it, man. Appreciate it.
I tried, stumbling on a few words, but we'll get through that. So we're going to talk about cybersecurity today and the 5 pillars every company needs to know.
Sure.
So, when I started my business, cybersecurity consisted of, nothing. It's like, try to not have the same password for absolutely everything you do.
Yes.
Still really not successful at that.
That's still a very important thing you need to do, though.
Yeah, exactly. And then the only other thing I ever did was went to like Geek Squad back in the day and got them to put actual antivirus and protection on my computer because I knew the ones that I tried to steal for free were not worth anything.
Oh, you're breaking all the rules here. I have to do this right away.
Well, yeah, I know. Well, and that's why we're going to learn from that. Obviously, sure. I don't do those things now. But, that's where I got to think that most businesses started out, right? Yeah. Like I have stories of friends who don't even back up their data. And if he's listening right now, it took him a year and a half to try to get corrupted data back off his computer because he's never heard of Dropbox or Drive or, like anything like that, or just backing it up to an actual drive.
Yeah.
So, let's start talking about those 5 pillars. I know we talked about some stats earlier. Yeah. There was a 4,000% increase in ransomware emails since the start of this crisis.
So basically, ever since the bad guys realized that you're going to start working from home, they really went to town because now their payday is a heck of a lot easier to get than if you're working behind a corporate firewall or a secure network. So the average Joe and person working from home doesn't spend the same amount of money to secure their home network. They might pay for an antivirus, but they're probably streaming content. They're not taking the time to look at what's happening on their computer. And now they're accessing corporate resources using said computer.
Yeah.
So basically the bad guys said, you know what, this is going to be a cakewalk. And across Canada, that's stats in Canada, between March and May, it's been a 4,000% uptick in ransomware emails. So these are the emails that have the nefarious links or the attachments that will actually infect you. And then the other stat is basically there's been 150% uptick across North America in actual ransomware infections for small business during COVID. So just while people are working from home. So people are getting infected. They're getting their home computers infected, and we'll talk about this, but depending on how they're set up, that trickles right into the work network as well. So it's something that needs to be handled, and it's something that definitely needs to be acknowledged and discussed as well.
Yeah, I agree. So, when we talk about all the security, we talk about from a business perspective and a corporate perspective, and then we kind of forget about our personal setups, right? Because our personal setups are, well, like lots of people just, they have one laptop they use for work, they use for their personal use, right? They don't distinguish the two, or they don't realize that they're doing work, or they still have stuff on their network or their computer that can still be ransomed or hurt them in the long run.
Well, and there's a new version, or I shouldn't say version, new variant of how they're exploiting people and getting money is what we like to call exposeware. So as an example, say you're a lawyer's firm, an accounting firm, or even a construction firm. If they ransom you and you're like, well, it doesn't matter, I've got a backup. Well, their next step is going to be, well, that's fine. If you don't pay the ransom in this period of time, we're going to publish all of these personal records or financial records that we've ransomed. And so the game has been upped. And if anybody's ever watched a hostage movie before, the hostage typically doesn't do well in the end. And so we need to realize that, paying the ransom and feeding this machine of criminal activity, it never ends. There is no honor amongst thieves. And so just because you might be a small business, you're probably the biggest target because you're probably the most likely to pay that ransom.
Yeah. And they, as a small business, we also know that most of us aren't doing everything proper, right? So you're an easy target.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. So small fish, but when you get a lot of them, you're fed, right? So
yeah, exactly.
Okay, so let's talk about your first pillar. So employee training, defense, and testing.
Yeah, so ultimately how we like to educate our clients is, your employees are your biggest asset, but unfortunately when it comes to technology, they're your biggest risk as well. And so a lot of the attacks that are happening right now are not the old typical, denial of service attack or brute force attack into a network. They're manipulating a human to click on something and then infecting their own network. And so how do you get around that? Well, you need to train your employees on how to spot and detect and avoid cyber threats. And so RJ Systems, we offer this free cybersecurity training for all companies across Western Canada if you want to take it, for that very reason, because that's your first line of defense. So train your employees, have them spot a phishing attack, have them know what an actual malicious URL in an email looks like. Don't click on everything that you get, right? Look at what a spoofing email looks like. If you're not used to getting an email from the controller of the company and all of a sudden they're emailing you asking you to go buy $5,000 worth of gift cards, don't, right? These are the types of things that are happening still. And they might sound silly, but this is how companies are getting infected. Yep. And the ransoms that people are paying are in the thousands. So it's unbelievable. So the first step is the training. But then you have to validate that training. So you want to test your employees. And so employ some sort of, breach prevention platform. So as part of our training, there's a paid option where we'll actually come in and over a period of a year, we'll do simulated phishing attacks. Okay. Where we'll send out coordinated emails that look like they're legit and see who's actually clicking through. We'll have, as part of this tool, we actually rate an employee's risk level to the business. And then management can say, hey, you didn't take your training or you keep clicking through this. What do we need to do to up our security posture with you? Because you're a risk to the business. And ultimately, the defense portion of that is the combination of the two. You've been trained, you've been tested. There's no excuse to fall for the simple things. Yep. All the time, the bad guys are evolving how they get in. They're evolving the social engineering aspect of things. They're looking at your Facebook, they're looking at your LinkedIn, they're looking at your Instagram, and they're trying to find a way to get into the human aspect of you to get through. And they still do it with technology. So if we teach the employees how to spot that, they're not going to get compromised.
Competency goes in all forms of business, right? So from any business operation or task, competency evaluations are a crucial part of any business. So
Absolutely.
This shouldn't be any different, and that makes perfect sense. So we used a lot of technical words, right?
Sorry about that.
Yeah, no, all good. So let's try to dig in. What's a phishing email or a phishing scam, right? For people listening.
Sure. So ultimately, a phishing email is something that will, first of all, start as a spoofed email. So it'll come from somebody that looks legitimate. Say it looks like Microsoft, or maybe the header of the email will look like it's coming from somebody you know. Yep. And then within that actual email itself, you'll have malicious links that will actually ask you to, I need you to log into OneDrive because that's where this file is. And then you'll in a hurry give out your username and password. And then from there, they can do whatever they want to do, take over your email, start looking at all sorts of things like that.
So this ties into a lot of things. And these happen actually over the phone as well, because this has happened to my parents more times than I would like to admit. If they're listening, stop answering from Microsoft. They never call. We've talked about this. But yeah, they would be like, hey, go in here, log into your C drive, type this in, and we see all this data, right? And then once they've done that, you're already convinced you're in. Right.
Well, another important one that's happening right now are these fake CRA calls that people are getting saying that they owe taxes. And so there's, I generalized it. There's multiple different ways of looking at phishing, but ultimately you're willingly giving up data by being fooled to do so.
Yep. Another one I really like, and I just shake my head every time it goes across Facebook, is the free giveaways. We're giving away this free Toyota. No, you're not. No one is. That's the one I've seen going around the last week. All these vehicle giveaways. If you look at the actual who's hosting it, there's no data, there's no anything. They're just trying to get people to share, like, comment. And then the other ones of, hey, fill out this word survey, and everyone's emails, right? What's your pet's name? Where did you used to live? Where did you grow up? Where, all of this stuff. And you're just like, oh, man.
Well, I've been privileged to be contacted by a Nigerian prince, owner of a Chinese tech company, and they have millions and billions of dollars they want to give me. So, I'm really in the wrong business, I think. Hey, but I guess that's my point. It's
generosity goes everywhere.
Well, and one thing I just want to, on this point too, the uptick in the COVID emails that are going through, a lot of them were branded to do with COVID related items, right? Yeah. So donate to this COVID charity, help out AHS, all these sorts of things. So they know how to target people and they know how to play to your emotions. And so if your employees are trained, you've already covered that threat vector.
Yeah. Perfect. All right. So after we got training, defense and testing, next gen security stack, overview of security systems. What do you got for us?
So ultimately, we've talked about training your employees, and now we have to look at the next layer, which is basically how do we build a security apparatus or a fence around the actual systems that we're using. And so in our industry, we call that a stack. And so a stack is basically multiple different layers of technology that we're using, starting with a next generation firewall. So what's the difference between a next generation firewall and a normal firewall? A next generation firewall has live updates that tie to a global database. So the moment one of these other firewalls notices an infection, it automatically updates all of them. So in real time, you're getting protection of new variants that are out. It also scans if somebody's trying to open something to go out to the internet. If they know it's malicious, it'll block it, right? Okay. So that's at the internet level. Then at the email level, you're going to want a proper spam filter that knows how to pick out malicious attachments. It understands if this is a legitimate document or not. The next layer is you're going to have next generation antivirus or EDR. So what does that mean? Well, basically, typical antivirus works off definitions, right? Goes to the internet, what's all the new viruses out, brings it down to the computer. Okay, I've noticed this, I'm going to block this. Well, people have found a way to get around that already. So next generation antivirus works similar to the firewall, where it's constantly pulling from multiple sources in real time. So if there's a brand new virus coming out, it knows about it. And so when what we call those 0-day attacks, when a brand new virus comes out, most of these older versions of antivirus or firewalls don't have the definitions for it. And that's how people are getting the virus itself, right?
Yeah.
So when you have this proper security stack in place, all of them tie into each other, and you've got this basically complete perimeter around your systems that allow you to avoid getting those types of infections.
Perfect. Okay. So yeah, the ones that the antivirus you're getting for like McAfee, with your computer, it's not going to cut it.
No, and I mean, when we get to the final point, I'll tell you why. I mean, for home use, that's a different story. I mean, you still need to be vigilant. You're probably not going to spend the money on next generation security stack for a home computer. But even a lot of these retail-based antiviruses and solutions have elements of that next generation technology built into it. It's just an evolution of how we're protecting ourselves against the bad guys. And if you don't invest in things that are constantly evolving with technology, you will get compromised. And so we mandate next generation security stack for all of our clients, because that allows us, as the technology evolves, to snap in new components and continue to protect them.
Fair enough. All right. So next one we have is preventative maintenance and monitoring. And I like this because this, again, follows every other procedure and foundation of a business. If we're not actually keeping up maintenance and we're not actually, maintaining and monitoring our systems, our equipment, our people, we're not going to be effective in anything we do. Right. So.
Absolutely. And I mean, I always use the analogy, like if you're running a trucking company, you wouldn't run all of your trucks until, the engine seizes. You wouldn't not change the oil in them and maintain them. You want to get the best return on investment and longevity that you can, right? But this has a different context of what we're talking about. So in proactive maintenance and monitoring, we're talking about the actual systems now that you're using, your file server, your line of business application, your accounting software. These are the tools you use to generate revenue and to run your business, right? So we've already talked about how to stop the employees from letting the bad guys get into the network, the systems. We've talked about the next generation security stack that builds a perimeter around said systems. But now the systems themselves have vulnerabilities. We're on Windows 10, and every second Tuesday of every month, there's Microsoft, what they call Patch Tuesday, where they release all of these patches for all of these security vulnerabilities that are out there. How long has Microsoft been around for? Right? So these are the types of proactive maintenance that we need to do. We need to look at the line of business applications we're using. QuickBooks, Sage, what are we using? Xero Accounting. Do they have any security vulnerabilities? Patch it. Look at Microsoft. Any security vulnerabilities? Patch it. Adobe, Chrome, everything that you use has the ability to have a vulnerability. Proactively, you need to patch that, because that's how the bad guys get in, okay? The second element of that is, after you're doing that, you need to have some consistent monitoring of your systems to see if something is happening that's not usual, right? So if this, as an example, there's a variant called crypto mining. Crypto mining is when a computer gets infected and they utilize the resources of the computer, so the CPU, the memory, the processor, and the RAM, to generate Bitcoin for themselves. So if you can imagine, if you're not monitoring your systems, if your entire fleet of 50 staff computers gets hit with a crypto mining variant that it's not detected, and everybody's complaining that their computers are running slowly, well, that guy's making a mint off you, because he's just got a whole factory chugging out Bitcoin on his behalf. And and try explaining Bitcoin to an older age person who owns a company. It's very difficult to do that. So we basically tell them that they're stealing from you, because that's what they're doing. So by monitoring, you're able to pick up if something's an abnormality. You're able to get on it right away. And also it will tell you, hey, we just did this proactive maintenance on the server and it's running really slow. Maybe one of those patches went bad. Without that monitoring, we would never know.
Fair enough. Yeah, the mining aspect of there was it Bitfury down in Two Hills. They have a huge mine, and trying to tell people that it's actually just C cans on C cans of servers drawing power. And what kind of mine is this? Don't worry about it.
Yeah, exactly. Doesn't exist.
Right? Yeah, it doesn't exist. Okay, that's awesome. And, that ties into everything as well. Like, preventative maintenance, just like anything else in your business, you have to keep it up. You have to make sure that we're doing these checks, these inspections, and that it's actually running optimal for what you're trying to do. Right.
Absolutely.
So instead of like the human capital aspect, a person might not get hurt, but your business might. Right.
Sure.
And, that's ultimately, we're all in business to, keep people employed, make money, help people where we can. So we got to keep that operating at top notch, rates. So next, disaster recovery and business continuity. Again, should be part of every part of your business.
Yeah. I think that this is one I'll spend a little bit more time on, Jackson, if that's all right.
No, all good, buddy.
I know that a lot of small businesses in Alberta right now are kind of sitting back and wondering what the heck's going to happen. And just given what the run up of the last 5 years of economic downturn and et cetera, it makes it sometimes a difficult place to do business and to expend money and look at that. And what really hits me in my soul is when a small business thinks they're saving money by not putting, a proper amount of investment into technology and supporting it. And then they get hit with one of these solutions and they don't have a disaster recovery plan. And so now they're forced to pay these criminals. And if they're in a bad shape, the way the economy is with COVID and everything else, this could be the death knell. This could be the nail in the coffin, right? If they don't have the money, I mean, typical ransoms are starting at $5,000, but we've seen them. I think Economic Development Edmonton got hit a year and a half ago for $500,000. And it's just, and what do? It's the continuity of your business. If you can't get your data and your systems back, you're out of business. It's that simple. So in terms of disaster recovery in this scenario, what I want to talk about is the fact that if somebody has been breached, so we've put in the employee training, we've put in the security stack, we've put in the proactive monitoring and maintenance, but let's just say there's an owner or a CFO that doesn't want any restrictions on their computer because they're the boss, right? You don't lock me out of my computer. I do what I want. I pay your bill. And I'm not picking on anybody in general. I'm just saying there's a persona that fits that model. And so of course, so they don't get the restrictions they want, right? And they're the ones that go and they click on the email and they get infected, right? Yep. And so all of a sudden we get the call.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Exactly. And so from a disaster recovery perspective, as part of this entire layered approach, we need to have what's called a recovery point objective and a recovery time objective. A recovery point objective is how far back in time can we go to get our data back? So the retention of said backups. And then the recovery time objective is how long is it going to take us to get that data back in terms of restoring, right? So you build out a playbook that says, okay, look, we've taken, the employee training, we've got the security stack, we're doing the monitoring, but if we get hit, what happens, right? Where is our data backed up? So we should have a local backup, maybe 2 of them, and then we should have what's called an air-gapped offsite backup. So what does that mean? Well, ransomware, the first thing that it's trained to do is to find your backups and ransom them. Because if you don't have backups, you're paying, right? Yeah. So pretty good business model. So the last course of action here and the last saving grace is having what we call an air-gapped offsite backup. And what does that mean? It means you're just backing up your files offsite in a method that doesn't allow transfer of other than through the software program from your computer to the storage facility. So air-gapped in the sense that I can't just double click and there's my backup. I have to go through a login. There's the vetting process to get that back from, say, secure storage site. And so that's from a disaster recovery perspective where you want to be. You want to know at what point in time can we capture the backup and get it back and how long is it going to take? And then if our entire site gets compromised, can we download it back from, say, the off-site cloud backup without them compromising that as well? That leads to your business continuity. So as part of that playbook that you're building out for disaster recovery, you want to say, okay, look, like our server just got hit. We know it's going to take a day to get back. How do we keep operating, right? Business continuity doesn't have to be weeks, months at a time. We got hit. We can run our emails through the cloud. We can get a backup of our files from this storage facility. We'll let IT figure out how to get back all of our data. But you want to continuously run your business either way. And the reason why is, what is the cost of downtime? And that's what a lot of companies don't factor in. You know, oh, I'm down for a day, whatever, right? Well, what happens if you're down for a week? It's not just the cost of you, Mr. CEO or Mr. Business or Mrs. Business Owner. What are you paying in salaries and utilities and lost potential revenue? You're paying a marketing company to go out and market you, but you can't deliver on the work because you're down. So disaster recovery needs to be focused on those recovery time objectives to make sure that we can minimize downtime, which ultimately is our true cost here.
Absolutely. It's funny because we talk the same language. It's just a different application, right?
Yeah.
We have a business continuity plan that we help with all of our clients. It's there, and we go with it. And one of the sections is IT, right? And your data management, because it doesn't matter what it is. If it's COVID, a fire, a flood, you need to be prepared for those types of scenarios. And how do you keep going? When we talk about downtime of any type of incident, trying to get people to understand the direct and indirect costs that are associated with that, right? It's not just the injured person or the one downed computer, or there's the time of recovery, investigation, public, your reputation of your brand, right? If you can't deliver to your clients or whatever you're doing, how does that affect you in the long run? You might not be in business.
You might not. And, one threat that a lot of companies don't think about is internal staff. So internal malicious activity, whether that's stealing data and sending it to a competitor, whether that's a disgruntled employee deciding that, they're going to try to damage you internally as much as you can. That all bleeds into the business continuity aspect as well. Hey, we've had somebody go rogue. So what is our plan to continue operating while we figure out how to eliminate that risk, right? And so as part of disaster recovery and business continuity, all aspects have to be covered. And then once you do it, you can run with that playbook, right? You don't have to do this all the time, but take the time and investment to get it right.
Absolutely. It's every aspect of your business. Like, come on. If you do it right the first time, it's going to save you so much in the long run.
Absolutely.
And, every one of our guests and panelists and experts that we bring onto the show, there's always a story that kind of relates back to the same thing. Like if you have a solid foundation, you're going to operate better. You're going to be more efficient. You're going to save money in the long run instead of trying to piece it together as you go, right? Because you're trying to save costs up front. And it's a juggling game, when you're starting out. But there's certain things that you definitely should not cheap out on. And, safety, security, data management, contract writing, don't cheap out on these things, get them done properly.
No, absolutely. I couldn't say it better myself.
All right. The right technology solution provider. What makes a good one, and what are the ones to avoid?
Very good. So to kind of wrap this all up into a nice little security onion, per se, I guess you could say, because there's layers, right?
Oh yeah.
The proper technology solutions provider will have a complete system from the employee training to the security stack to the monitoring to disaster recovery and business continuity laid out for you with basically a technology roadmap that'll say, okay, look, here's an audit of your current system. Here's how you're doing. This is what we need to do to move you in the right direction, to secure everything up and move you forward. This is what your investment looks like. And this is how we move forward in terms of supporting it. So when you have the proper, what I call TSP, technology solutions provider, not only are they bringing all of those tools to the table, but they're bringing the expertise of how to implement them. They have the playbooks of how to handle disaster recovery and business continuity. They know how to look for next gen attacks that are coming in. They know how to deal with people. There's a customer service aspect of things here, right? Yeah. Not all IT people look like comic book guy on Simpsons and play Warcraft. Some of us play guitar. But I guess my point is there's a human component that's a key element of having a technology solutions provider. We need customer service to start with. And by learning who's using the technology, we can help them elevate and utilize that stack that we've put in place to protect them. But we're their trusted technology partner. So if they have a business idea outside of all of this security aspect, they can talk to us and we can help bring that to fruition. But the most important element from a good technology solutions provider is they're going to help your company use technology to your competitive advantage. And how are they able to do that? Well, like our company, we have, I believe, 130 clients across Western Canada. At least half of those are on a fully managed plan with us. We understand how all multifaceted businesses are working right now. So if you have a business related technology problem, there's a good chance we've already solved it for somebody else. We'll be able to bring that knowledge to the table for you. So come to us, bring big ideas. Let's take it to the next level, right? Yep. And we'll handle the employee training. We'll handle the security stack. That's just all built into our service. So that's what makes a good technology solutions provider. What makes a bad one? This is where I want to spend some time, because this is so true. So unfortunately, there's no real governing board in Alberta for technology companies. It's a bit of Wild West. And so anybody can claim to be one, which doesn't benefit a lot of the businesses out there, right? That not everybody shares the same ethics. Not everybody shares the same standards, So basically, somebody I would consider, maybe looking elsewhere if they come to you, is somebody who doesn't offer anything that's proactive or monitored on a monthly basis. They're waiting for things to break. If you want a reactive IT company to fix something, then you need to go and rewatch this webinar we're doing to see all of the ways that things could go bad for you. And if you don't have a proactive component in there, they will go bad for you. And then you're paying said company to try to remediate and fix these things at probably 3 to 4 times the cost of what you would have had to have a monthly plan to monitor and prevent them. So that's the first step. The second step, I would say, is ask if they have errors and omissions insurance and liability insurance. And that's not really a technical thing, but if an IT company doesn't carry that, walk away very quickly and fast and don't look back, because you need that. We have that. IT companies are prime targets right now for ransomware attacks as well. Think about it. If they infect us, they infect everybody. Absolutely. Right? We have to, we armor up with insurance, with the amount of investment we make to ensure that our systems are safe, carries through obviously to our clients to a certain degree, bundled in with the services that we have. But ultimately, by protecting us, we're protecting them, right? And I guess the last aspect of thing is just, if you notice anybody who is not following the legal rules, like, hey, I can get you this server off the back of this truck and don't worry about it, walk away again. I hate to say it, but with the current economic climate and just the current threat climate out there, everybody's head's in a tizzy when it comes to IT. They don't know what to do. They don't know what the next step is. You basically need some sort of IT, solutions provider to hold your hand along the way. And we only grow through referral and word of mouth. So our goal and our business strategy as a TSP has been, talk to the clients we work with. If you want to learn, if we want to gain trust together, that's how we're going to do it. We're already handling it for this client. Talk to them. It's the personality that solves it. So if somebody knocks on your door and says, I want to be your IT guy, don't let them. Call somebody that they're working with. Vet them. Make sure. If he says, I want to be your IT guy for $30 an hour, don't. Is all I'm trying to say, right? I don't know any other better way to say it, Jackson. It is you get what you pay for, and you have to vet these companies to make sure that they are who they say they are, and they carry the necessary fail safes if you're going to do business with them.
Perfect. No, that sounds pretty much same way when I'm talking to people, right? And pay me now or pay me later. It's an unfortunate term, but oh no, we froze up.
I can still hear you though.
Okay, there we're back. Perfect. I don't know if it's my IT problem right now or a band.
It's probably because you're talking to an IT guy. It's Murphy's Law.
Like if we can be preventative, it's a lot cheaper, right? If you're waiting for something to happen and we have to go in and investigate and fix it, then it's
the joys of live broadcasting. You're back. It's okay.
I am back.
We can.
Lunchtime rush of bandwidth.
One thing I wanted to say too is from a technology solutions provider's perspective is that, if you really fraction in what it would cost to have a full-time IT person to do all of these things, never mind the cost of the tools, the software, everything else, and the expertise, technology solutions providers can come in at a fraction of the cost of a full-time employee, and it becomes a monthly operational cost, right?
Yeah,
A cost that you absolutely need to budget for, but it's a cost that will keep you in business and it will keep you competitive. And I think that that's something that, gone are the days that IT is this big black hole. It's now technology as general. It's not just an IT person, it's the whole apparatus around it. And you're getting that, it's a commodity cost almost now, right? Where we're more like a utility. You call us when something's wrong, or we'll be calling you. But you don't ask ATCO Gas how the gas gets from the ground to your furnace. You only call them when the furnace doesn't turn on. It's the same concept. We're a utility, same as the phone and the internet. Not your internet because it's not working good, but you know what I mean, right?
Yeah. No, and that's true. And that's like anything in your business operations. If you haven't factored it into your operational costs, then you haven't actually considered it, right?
Yeah.
And I love talking to people when you go, oh, how'd you get your charge out cost? Oh, it was $5 cheaper than that guy's, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so you have no idea what you're paying for, right? You don't know what's all entailed in your business, right? You don't know what those costs are. So figuring that out and factoring it up front is going to save you a lot of time or a lot of effort, right?
Yeah, and money.
And money.
Yeah.
All right. Well, before we have any more technical difficulties, thank you for joining me, Jay-Dee.
My pleasure.
How can people get a hold of you?
So I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. Just Google my name, Jay-Dee Netter. You'll come up there. Google hit LinkedIn, hit Jay-Dee Netter or RJ Systems. We do have a Facebook page as well, RJ Systems, and our Twitter handle is RJ_systems. Okay. All of those channels are the best way to do it. If you're interested in taking our complimentary cybersecurity training for your company and your employees, just hit me up on LinkedIn and I can get you signed up. There's no charge. It's our give back during this time. I don't want to see anybody get ransomware. It makes me sick to my stomach. And then if I could just give a quick plug to Project Joy before we close it off. Yeah, so basically we started Project Joy during COVID because there's a lot of seniors, all seniors in care centers that are isolated right now, months at a time. So we're accepting eligible tablets and phones from the public. Hit up our website, www.projectjoy.ca. To date, we've been able to deploy about 30 brand new tablets and about 50 used tablets. We've helped, I think, close to 70 or 80 seniors and some foster care places around that. RJ Systems is the technical arm of Project Joy, so our team's actually touching the devices and making sure they're going to work before we deploy them. So just a real big shout out to you, Jackson, for allowing me this platform to present that, and to anybody who can donate a device right now. You really are changing people's lives right now, and it doesn't seem like much, but to the people that have been isolated, it's a game changer. So thank you.
Absolutely. No, and that is such an awesome endeavor. So continued success and good luck with that. Thank you for having or joining me, man. It was awesome. And we will be reposting this so we can share this with everyone at a later date as well.
Awesome. My pleasure, Jackson. Thanks for the opportunity.
Talk to you later, buddy.
Take care.
All right. So anyone that tuned in, sorry about the technical difficulties. Hope you enjoyed it. There is a lot of technical data when it comes to IT management, safety, and security, just like every other operation of your business. So, contact us. You can comment through my social media. I can get it to Jay-Dee if you have questions. And thanks for tuning in. Like always, if you could comment, subscribe, and join us next time on any of our social media channels. And thank you. Have a great day.